the flag, we all beating our chest. When it's peace, it's the same old game, the same old players, same old names. Right. My skin is my sin. My skin is my sin. My skin is my sin.
What's good, fam? How's everybody doing? So what's up? This is Jobs, and you are tuned in to My Skin is My Sin on Blog Talk Radio. From goons to gods, we welcome everyone. We only got one rule, you already know. Let's be respectful. I think this AJ in the queue, so let me get him in on the line. So hold on one second. What's good, fam?
What's good?
Nothing, just doing the regular, introducing myself to the people, introducing the show.
All right, I guess I'll
not tuned in. This is Brother Greg, co-host of the show.
What's good, everybody? You feel what I'm saying? This is Brother Greg. Just happy to be here with the people. You feel what I'm saying? We're going to have a very interesting show. Not saying that all of our other shows are uninteresting, but we got a little special guest there, so... Yeah, man.
We had a couple whack ones, man. Like, let's keep it a stack. We had a couple whack shows. So we can't say every show has been dope.
Jordan missed a couple free throws, but he's still Jordan. You feel what I'm saying? So it is what it is.
And if this is your first time tuning in, man, for the first 15 minutes or so, we don't talk about much. We understand, acknowledge, and appreciate that some of us show up a little late. So, we try to get the topic jumping off maybe a quarter after 7. So you still got time to go get you something to drink, make that last phone call, go to the bathroom, whatever you need to do. Anything you want to chop it up for a little bit, though, bro?
As far as what's going on around the world, you feel me? I noticed that, we had a phenomenal show last week. And one thing that we touched on was we got to keep our eyes on the prize. And we can't really let media dictate what is important to us. I say all that to say this. This week, now everybody is highly upset about this Pepsi commercial, which was definitely disrespectful to the movement that was going on, but I'm still concerned about the missing girls. You feel what I'm saying? So we can talk about how media portrays us and just blatantly disrespects us, you feel me? But it's kind of like, it's like playing the same record at a different speed, pretty much. So,
but
I say all that to say this.
It's not like one has to be mutually exclusive, though. Like we're diverse people amongst ourselves. We can think about more than one thing.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite sayings for real. We can walk and chew bubblegum at the same time. You dig what I'm saying? So.
Because the Pepsi commercial
I was just pointing out,
bro. Like, let's keep it a stack.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Actually, I posted up a picture of the sister that got arrested around the time when they was protesting. I think it was for Austin Sterling, and she was just standing there, and the police just ran up on her. And I posted the side picture of Kylie Jenner walking to the police officer, and I'm like, with the caption of "Only if that black girl had a Pepsi." You feel what I'm saying? Like the images really play off of each other, but it's like. When you really focus and looking at things, you catch it, but some people don't really catch it at first. Because I didn't even see the commercial until I seen everybody going crazy about it. So, let me just look at this.
Actually, I think I did see it before the uproar. But I just can't, I guess I can't understand. Like, just do me a favor. Just don't give me the fake apology thereafter. Because you cannot tell me that somebody in your organization did not say something to you about that commercial. You knew it, and you was okay with it.
Right.
So let's just be honest with that. Oh, and you know what, man? I think we got Minister Enqi in on the line right now.
Are we just going to get right to it? Okay.
I guess so. So Ron, if you out there, bro, call up. And without further ado, man, I don't want to keep the king waiting in the queue for long. So we're going to get I don't think he really needs any introduction, man. You already know. Let's get off into the magic of Melanin with the Minister Enqi. What's good, fam?
Peace.
Peace. What's good, brother?
How you doing?
Happy to be on the show.
Oh, man, it's our honor.
Oh, man, we happy to have you.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Man. We gotta get it in.
Well, let me get the intros out the way. That's Brother Greg, and I am Jobs. And Rome should be calling up at some point. I know you already had some interaction with Rome. Shout out to the plug for the interview.
Yes.
Yeah.
How's life, though, man? What's new? What's going on?
Everything is always good. You know what I mean? Even when it's bad, it's good. The Creator looked out for me, or if not the Creator directly, some of my ancestors paid dues so my life could be sweet. I help people's health improve, and that's what I do for a living. So I can't really, my job is to help people out for a living. Like that's, it doesn't really get much better than that.
That is kind of
definitely,
dope.
Man. And the title of the show is The Magic of Melanin. So we all sat back and we did our research for real. And I actually didn't get a chance to interact with the host Jobs today. You feel what I'm saying? But I got kind of a breeze of some of the things we're going to run down with you. So I decided to take a different approach, and I'm glad that you brought up health. So I'm going to be asking you a couple questions about that. He's going to be talking to you about melanin. So anything you want to say before we get this interview popping?
Let's get ready to rumble!
Okay, man.
Hey, wait a minute, hold on. We got to put some type of disclaimer because I think old boy got like a lockdown on that statement. That had nothing to do with my skin.
Oh man,
so.
He trademarked it. Disclaimer: don't sue us, nigga. We ain't got no money. Don't sue us.
Right. We can't afford that, bro.
I don't think they're gonna hit you for that one, man. That was all me off the cuff.
That's a freebie, huh? We good.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
and before we get started, man, I want people to know, follow you on YouTube, Minister Enqi, Sang Real. I hope I pronounced that correctly. And on Instagram, Minister Enqi Wusir, WSIR at the end, even though it's Wusir. And just in case you want to get in touch with the brother.
Yeah, and on YouTube, Minister Enqi is one word, and Sang Real is one word as well. So, just in case. So you probably can find them anywhere in the search, but just want to make sure y'all on the game.
No. I'm glad you specified that because people seem to watch me more on other people's channels than mine. So, it gets crazy. So if they don't see me on certain channels, they be like, "Hey, where you been at? What you been doing?" I'm like, "Nigga, I've been on my channel, like posting almost 3-4 videos a week."
We got like 2 people on our channel. He got 1 million people on this channel, man. You doing all right, bro? All right, so let me ask you this, man. Let's jump it off with gravity.
Okay.
And I forget which one I was watching, but you said that gravity is an obvious fallacy. Can you explain that to the and I'm trying to find a polite way to call myself learning challenged, but to the novice of science?
No, here's the thing with gravity, and it's not necessarily even being a novice. It's we've been sold. I don't even want to make it sound so conspiracy theory-ish, because sometimes what happens is in science is that you're learning as you go. So when you learn something, and this is what it is, based on current data, current technology, current research, this is what it is. And so, gravity has been taught in school as if it is a universal law or universal force, and it's not. In fact, Tyson, I think it's Tyson Neil deGrasse, one of the number one or top five. He's one of the top scientists, especially in astronomy. But he was recently and it's viral all over the web. People are splicing it up, remixing it. He was doing an interview, and they asked him to explain gravity, and he was just honest, and I appreciated the answer, but now you see, like, and it's kind of a catch-22 when you're in public like that, when you're in the public eye, because he could have been dishonest and said some slick, said something slick and got away from the question,
right?
And he wouldn't even be blasted the way he is. But because he was honest, people remixing it and attacking him instead of the institution. So I just want to put that little disclaimer that I'm not hitting him directly, but necessarily the institution. But there's never been a proof of gravity. Gravity came about by a group of unexplainable phenomena, and so when pressed to explain gravity, he said, you can feel gravity's effects. The effects of gravity we can prove, but we can't prove or explain gravity because we've never directly been able to, quantify it. You can't see it, feel it, touch it. In fact, if you take away the effects, and most of the effects that were unexplainable 100, some odd years ago, are now all accounted for. So anybody that really gets deep into gravity into science, knows that gravity in its current context, it really can't exist because we know there's no force coming from above pushing us down, whether it's a flat planet or a round planet. Gravity just doesn't fit today's current scientific model. So that's what I was talking about. That's on the Flat Earth video I did.
Okay, and I never knew that either, man. Like that. Damn.
Oh, my fault. Speaking of Flat Earth, because I was actually, it's funny because when everybody started talking about this theory a couple of years ago, just having a conversation about it, I was like, let me just do a little bit of research. And the first thing that you said that resonated with me, and that's something I really stuck with, you said that because people look at gravity as a law, but it's really a theory. You feel what I'm saying? Because it's actually been proven through different experiments how they say this law has been broken a multitude of times. You dig me? Right. So it kind of surprised me, and that was a very good question, by the way, Jobs, that we kick the show off like that. You know what I mean? So if somebody with your scholarship, for real, I just knew you would break it down. So I was just listening the whole time. You was, basically just breaking that down. No, because I really posed that question. Okay, go right ahead.
So what would you consider the magic of melanin?
Wow. Well, here's the magic of melanin is. Now that is an awesome question.
That's what's up. Appreciate it. I was thinking of, that's about a week of research and thought, bro.
The magic of melanin. Wow. The magic of melanin would be, it's so tricky. I guess it's really like when you come down to it, melanin is really water's genie in a bottle. All of the things that water need done is kind of what melanin does. When you understand, so first we got to go and dial it back, because y'all all the way like in PhD, grad school, like people that are listening to this, they might be at any level of the melanin game. You know what I'm saying? So they might not really understand. A lot of people still think like melanin is made in the pineal gland for some reason. I know that's kind of the old jargon that was floating around. Like, oh yeah, melanin. If your pineal gland's calcified, you can't make melanin. Like, yeah, we gotta stop that. So no melanin is made in the pineal gland. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So that's number one. So I think that would be the best place to start. Let's just get into what melanin is and then kind of walk our way into what it does, and then you'll see the magic of melanin. Now, a lot of people think that melanin is like every single pigment on Earth is melanin.
Okay.
It's not. You know, so I hear people say things like, "Oh yeah, well, chlorophyll is plant melanin." Like that's like some of these things we say, right? And it's cool. It's cool if in our learning, as we're growing with the science, we're saying some things, but we keep our mind open to learn and grow. If we say things, especially when dealing with science and biology, because this is one of the biggest problems that we're having the globe over, is our lack of understanding how our bodies work. Has us having the shortest lifespan in developed countries, where we should actually have the longest, because anybody that studies biology knows we have the most advanced. So just by that statement alone, we should have the longest lifespans anywhere. You know, everybody did a Get Out. You know, everybody was talking about the Get Out movie. A lot of the scholars did Get Out breakdowns and shit like that. So
right.
It's common conversation that, you know, we understand Henrietta Lacks, their show is coming out. In fact, I didn't even plan it this way, but I have a lecture in Whole Foods in Detroit the same day that Henrietta Lacks is coming out.
When is that?
The 22nd, April 22nd. So we know that organs have been, and cells and tissues and fluids from our bodies, black folks, are being stolen, and they have the highest value. That right there should tell us there's a problem with this epidemic of premature death that we're dealing with. And we go to doctors aren't putting a dent in it. Even to be all the way super honest, the holistic healing paradigm is not putting a dent in it. And that's because most of the people in the holistic paradigm are one-dimensional. You can't really effectively deal with people's health at this day and time if you're one-dimensional, meaning personal trainers know a great deal about fitness, but that's it. Fitness and health are two different things. And I'm just using them as an example. But fitness and health is two different things. And I did a YouTube video on this. Fitness is about muscle and about how much work you can do. So at the end of slavery, they put a huge effort forward to make sure that the ex-slaves / slaves were physically fit, because the better fit they were, the more work they could do. So you still see that today in corporate America. Everybody's job is pushing them to do fitness. Get out and walk. Get out and run. Fitness. But that's not health. See, fitness is how well you can work. Health is how long you're going to live, which was always reserved for the owners and never the workers. So that's just them and their one-dimensionality. But a lot of herbalists, they only know herbs. Doctors only know drugs, medicine. Surgeons, so the problem is that we have to begin to take our bodies back, and we do that with knowledge and information. This is why halfway through my growth, I took my emphasis off of herbs and compounds. Even last year, when I really figured this thing out, I would say 2017, into 2015, I said, oh my God, the people are still crippled. So I had about 30-something compounds on my website at that time. I took them all off the market, started from scratch, and condensed them down to about half a dozen. Then I launched the God Complex course, which is an online school where people can learn the body. And what we do is I took the 4-year course that they teach in college and sat that side by side with the personal training curriculums and holistic health so that we can learn all those at one time. And that's still basic because after we get a good amount of graduates from that, we're going to do the same type of comparative course. It's going to be probably about 12 to 18 months. The second course, the Melanin Magi course, is what we're going to call it. And we're going to go through the MCAT text. I have them all in my living room. I've been going through them for the past couple of years. So,
wow.
So that way we'll be at that level.
And just I hate to interrupt, but as far when you say holistic, and we do have Rome in the queue, so I'm gonna get to you in just 1 second, bruh. But just for people listening out there, like holistic is more so like, let's say you break your arm, you go to the doctor, they just fix your broken arm. You go to a holistic person or specialist, they not only heal your arm, but they deal with everything else.
No. Wait. If you go to a holistic specialist, they better send you to the hospital with a broken arm.
Well, yeah, for a broken arm. Okay, yeah, that was a bad one.
No, I got you. Yeah. I'm sorry, I couldn't resist.
You'll have a deformed arm in a couple months. But holistic is just dealing with the impact completely on you as a being, as opposed to just an acute injury. I just wanted people to know that. Now, hold on, let me get Rome in on the line too. What's good, bro?
Hey, yo, peace to the gods, man. Good.
Peace.
What's going on, man? We got Minister Enqi on the line, man.
Peace, King.
Peace to the God.
Can y'all? Peace. Nah, man, y'all go ahead and finish your bill, man. I'm a little late there, but
yeah, you are.
Grandmother, man, but finish your bill, please.
Shout out to the Queen too. You are a little late though, bro. We're gonna dock you for that one. You already know.
yeah, hey, man. Let Uncle Sam get his first.
Hey, wait a minute. Some of my people was hitting me up like, yo, Minister, what's up, man? The flyer said the 9th.
Yeah, it did. That was an error on my part that has been resolved.
That get him.
I do apologize.
Yeah, it didn't. He hitting us up like, man, make sure y'all share this shit. Like, wait a minute.
Yo, shout out to Warren College, my man.
Oh yeah, man. That's
bro.
Yeah, that's fair. Shout out to knowledge, man.
Yeah, man. I got the flyer and got excited. Didn't really look at the date because 99.9% of the time they always just exactly on point. 5 minutes after I posted it everywhere, I'm like, oh snaps, that's the wrong date. So we got that fixed. But I had put it out so many places, it was too late to reel it back in. So I did the best I could. So my apologies to anybody that I caused confusion to.
We raised hell.
I accept your apology. I really do.
All right, man. So where was we at in Melanin?
Holistic doctor.
Right.
He told us, I was right at that point.
Right. So basically, it's just a matter of us really being well-rounded in order to really deal with our health, and we got to get to the point where, and I kind of hate to really refer back to the slavery period, but I think one of the biggest long-lasting effects from that is that people really don't, in the slavery, the whole thing was, or in that time period, because, you got people like, oh, there was never such thing as slaves, and in prison there was a war, and blah, blah, blah. So anyway, in that time period, the whole thing was that black people, melanated people, did not own their body. Someone else owned their body and could buy and sell them, et cetera, et cetera. So we still have this lingering thing where our bodies are not our responsibility. So I feel like it's a lingering leftover mind fuck, if you ask me, because no one thinks their health is their responsibility. You know, they want to get mad with the people putting the GMOs in the food. They want to get mad with the doctors misprescribing medicine. They want to get mad with the people in the emergency room that didn't tell them this or didn't give them full disclosure. They want to get mad with the people who, you know, you cannot get mad with these people. You have to get mad with yourself. You got to get mad with yourself. We're the people who don't prioritize health. We're the people who don't make time to understand our bodies. We spend a lot of time on making babies. And when I say making babies, I mean, even if we're not intending on making a baby, we still are preoccupied with sex. So to me, it's really like insane for us to spend so much of our time obsessed with sex and spend so little time figuring out how the body works. So like we got this thing and we mastering this shit, how to make humans, but we don't figure out how humans work, how the body works.
God bless the flag. We all beating our chest.
So we creating situations where like I just did a video because I was touched by a young girl, and I'm almost sure their family was out of Philadelphia. They had an interview on the Breakfast Club, and the young girl had her organs, her tissue stolen, and this is modern. This is right like a few years ago. So sometimes people will flag their hands off, like, oh, they're talking about that Henrietta Lacks stuff. That was so many years ago. That doesn't happen anymore. This little girl just had it happen to her recently, and it started because her mom took the advice of her doctor after having her baby, and if she had been involved in a class or course like the God Complex course, she would have never even been in that line of fire. So what happened with her was she must have had some type of infection or whatever the case may be, but right after her child was born, she was prescribed antibiotics. She asked the doctor, would the antibiotics affect her ability to breastfeed her child? Of course, the doctor said, no problem. No, it's not going to affect the baby. Go ahead and do your thing. And what happened? The baby had an allergic reaction to the antibiotics coming through the breast.
Wow.
From that allergic reaction, she takes the baby in. And when she takes the baby in, instead of saying that the baby had an allergic reaction to the antibiotics, they tell her that the baby has a rare liver disease. Now they take liver samples from the baby. Then the baby had to wind up getting 2 liver transplants and all of this kind of crazy stuff when none of that was actually true. The baby had an allergic reaction to the antibiotic and just needed something to combat the allergic reaction to the antibiotic, which is what started the problem in her liver in the first place. So it's just that simple, though. See, so that whole complicated cascade of events that child is going to have to deal with forever, because now she's received. Now she's healthy now, as healthy as you can be after 2 childhood liver transplants, right? But she's going to have to deal with that forever simply because her mom didn't know better than to ask, would taking a medication while breastfeeding affect the child? If you know how your body works, that's almost like a no-brainer. Like, your breast milk is made from your internal biochemistry. It's impossible for you to even have a sandwich without that affecting your breast milk. Like, everything is going to affect the breast milk. So,
correct.
Just that simple understanding of ourselves, it plays out all over the place. You know, you got children that get their ass whooped or get put on punishment all the time because they can't pay attention. They can't sit down. They don't listen to their mama. They don't listen to the teacher. They getting called for this, that, and the other. But the parents are the ones that should be getting their ass whooped because guess what? The parents is the one buying them Frosty Flakes, Fruity Loops, Minute Maid drinks, etc., 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 and not understanding that the brain function is tied to melanin, neuromelanin to be specific. Neuromelanin is tied to the reduction of tyrosine, the most important amino acid in black biology, tyrosine. High blood sugar levels, especially glucose, inhibit your body's ability to process tyrosine. So now when you feed them all this sugary, crazy foolishness, and their body has an inability to process tyrosine, so they can't sit down, they can't concentrate, they all over the place, it's not their fault. It's your fault, and you need to have your check. But we don't understand that kind of stuff. We don't and this is not difficult stuff to get. It's just we got to put ourselves in position and sit down for it. I'm constantly learning. I'm in school. I just started a new class now. I'm in 2 different schools right now for one is for more training, you know, and then the other one is a class that all doctors are in and me.
Wow.
So
crazy.
I done snuck in the back door with them folks. I'm in there. It's all doctors and me. You know what
Well,
I'm
let me ask you this then, bro.
Go ahead.
Like just like you know this is the Twitter age. Everybody wants a quick recipe, a quick fix. So what would you say would be the top 3 things that somebody could do to at least get them on a better path for better health and better longevity?
Go to my website and join the God Complex course. Outside that, nothing I would say that you don't already know. So that would be the second thing. Go to my website, 40dayfruitfast.com, and join the God Complex course. That's first step. Second step, start to do all the things you already know. So much information because it's the Twitter age, right? There's so much information out there on health. The basic things that everybody needs to know and do, they already know that. Everybody already knows that they're not supposed to be drinking soda. But like right now, there's this new thing going on right now, boycott Pepsi. Yo, when I seen that post, when I seen the first post of that this morning, I swear to God, I almost peed on myself laughing. I said, wait a minute. How are all of these conscious, healthy, alkaline, vegan niggas talking about boycott Pepsi? I thought you guys were already off Pepsi. How are we boycotting something that we have been supposed to been off in the first place?
Right. How can you boycott something that you're not supposed to be doing in the first place for real if you got common knowledge yourself? But that's a whole nother story. You dig what I'm saying? I kind of figured something the same way.
I'm not even gonna lie, bro. I can't front. I can't even talk, man. I'll be the biggest hypocrite on the planet. I don't like Pepsi just because I don't like Pepsi. I drink Coke, but I shouldn't be drinking that either.
See, so we know the basic things we supposed to be doing. You know, when I was in high school, and I'm 39 now, so this is 20 years ago, more than 20 years ago. When I was in high school, I used to be a chain smoker with cigarettes. And me and everybody that I knew that smoked cigarettes all knew then that cigarettes was killers. And every cigarette almost we was quitting. This was the last cigarette. No, I got to stop this shit. This is crazy, but I'm stressed. I'm stressed. I got to have a cigarette. I'm stressed. I got to have a cigarette. But we knew then smoking, like, so all of these things that we already know, everybody already knows they're supposed to exercise daily. Everybody already knows that, but most people don't do it. Now, so that would be the second thing. The third thing is this, and this is why I have a 100-day light body challenge going on right now, because the main thing I want to accomplish with this is awareness.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody everybody talks this melanin talk.
Hold on, we got a little. I don't know what that is in the background. Let me see if I can fix that right quick, though.
Somebody just got to throw their line on mute.
Yeah, I think that was you, wrong.
But
My bad, I had to mute you, though, bro.
It's all gravy. Everybody talks the melanin talk. Everybody talks the Kemet talk. Everybody talks this Africa talk. You know, and people that go in on white folks, you know, they always, white folks, I don't see anybody out there cultivating their relationship with the sun. So put 3 would be to reignite, pun intended, reignite, pun intended, your relationship with the sun. I had in my mind that I was going to write a new book called Black People Are the New Cave. Wait, was it The Black Man is the New Caveman? It's just that I got so busy with creating the course content that I said, you know what, I'll just teach this in one of the courses, and the people that are in the course, they'll get all the science. But
yeah, because I want to hear about that,
now,
man. That's interesting.
Listen, right now we average less than 16 minutes of sunlight a day. We average, black folks in America, less than 16 minutes of sunlight a day. Let me say this, and I hope everybody takes this in. If you don't hear nothing else about health ever, hear this. It is impossible for you to be healthy as a black person getting 16 minutes or less per day of sunlight on any diet, any supplement, any herb, any system, anywhere. Period. It don't matter if you drinking Jesus sweat and you eating you eating the leaves of like Allah's garden. Like it don't matter what it is you putting into your body. Yo, I'm telling you, people's crazy.
It's like a referendum on how fucked up my life is.
No, listen, people think in their mind that they can somehow purchase health. And I think that, Michael Jackson should have been the end of that kind of thinking. Like, he had all the money. You couldn't get more money than Michael Jackson. You couldn't get more money than Michael Jackson. And he died because he was unhealthy. You can't purchase health. Health is something that you have to study and apply. Period. Work is no way to shortcut it. My man had all the money in the world, and he had more money than could even be printed. If Michael Jackson would have said, you know what, I want all mine in cash, and decided to pull his all out of the banks, it would have been a global meltdown. It was his feminine personality that fooled everybody and took everybody's eye off the fact that he was probably the most powerful man on earth while he was alive. He owned
That's an interesting concept.
That's what he owned. Think about America's, outside of debt, music is America's biggest income. And he owned the rights to all of the biggest names in history, including the Beatles. And Elvis Presley.
The Beatles. Yep.
Right. He had the Beatles right, Elvis Presley's rights, and it's not just old shit, because he had Eminem's rights. Like, he had music in the stronghold. So he
that part he did.
Right. So he had more money than you could even print, because all the money that's coming in is still accountable to your net worth.
And so, I think what it is, especially with Michael Jackson, is people don't look at him as being responsible for his health. They look at Joe Jackson for being responsible for turning Mike into a quote-unquote loon and that was what was responsible for all of his issues. So
Nah,
it's almost like they kind of eliminate his responsibility in the situation.
And that's the problem, is because we don't raise our children with a strong level of discipline. So we want to buck shots at the man who did. He raised them very strictly, super strict discipline, and what did he create? The richest black family on earth.
Fact.
What do we do with our children? We bullshit with our children. We put the responsibility for them to be healthy on the pediatricians and the school lunch, school breakfast people. We put the education responsibility onto the teachers. We put the responsibility for our children everywhere else but us, because we put the responsibility of us everywhere except us. And this is the main problem. We have to take our health into our own hands. Every time we get a headache, we run to the hospital because we have no idea why we got a headache. We have no idea. If people just knew, that's one of the biggest conundrums till the last few years of why people get headaches. Scientists couldn't even figure it out because the brain doesn't have pain receptors. So how you feel? So imagine people going in to the doctor like, yo, I got this serious migraine, and the doctor has to come out and tell you something intelligent, because the one thing they can't do is have panic. But they don't know nowhere. They don't know either. So that's why they put you on the series of tests, and a lot of times when the tests don't pan out, they come back and say, well, go ahead and take this right here, and take some aspirins. And aspirins is a blood thinner. So what does a blood thinner have to do with me having a headache? Unless you're telling me that somewhere in my body, blood is the passages for blood to leave my brain or into my brain are so congested that it's causing pressure in the brain. Then a blood thinner would be feasible. Outside of that, you're just basically giving me something that won't kill me and hoping placebo effect will work. And usually it does, because 90% of headaches, all you have to do is drink a tall glass of water, 24 ounces or more, and take a nap, and your headache is gone. Vanished. But
let me write that down real quick.
You ain't lying. Like, you shouldn't have to write that down though, bro. Like literally, he said drink a glass of water.
But listen, you should be able to remember the joke. So it's gonna be recorded, Joe. You know what I'm saying? But we have other issues too, where headaches can be really serious. Like one of the things that's not addressed is the oxidation of carbon. A lot of people that work out, and it's really more so athletes and people that really work their body really hard that experience this. When you oxidize carbon, a small amount of that carbon is going to become carbon monoxide. People that really push their body to the limit, especially if they're not using the right type of herbs and antioxidants to diffuse this, are producing carbon monoxide in their body. And that's what's giving them the gas on the skull. The pressure from the gas on the skull is what's giving them the headache sometimes. So when your body lays down, it allows the gas to disperse. And so when you get up, then the headache. So sometimes just laying down for a while without no stimulus, just laying down in the dark room, turning off the lights, no TV, no radio, the headache could dissipate in 30, 40 minutes by itself, even if you can't get to sleep. But you got to look at your health and your diet, because that can become serious. People go to sleep and don't wake up.
Facts.
All right.
But
my fault. You still going?
No. Go ahead. Go ahead. Because trust me, every so often you got to cut me off. Because I can go.
Now, I love the build, man. You see what I'm saying? But before I get to my question, I just wanted to point out something that you said earlier. You feel what I'm saying? Dealing with the sun and how black people lack for real. Ever since I was 16 years old, I always was a sun worshiper for real. Even before I got this knowledge for real, like I just always put two and two together. You feel me? So it was definitely dope that you brought that up. But speaking on health, I wanted to ask you about your 40-day fruit fast. You feel what I'm saying? And how this can help people You feel what I'm saying? That's trying to not lose weight but get healthy. By the way, I'm asking for a friend because something's coming down. So could you break that down for me, brother?
I know how that go. I'm asking for a friend, you know. So just like me. So this is what we're gonna do. Because you said something, and I just want to touch on it real quick, and then we could go into the 40-day fruit fast thing. And at some point, we're gonna have to get back around to melanin before people say, "Hey, this shit was clickbait. Y'all tricked us." So, but no. So the sun worship thing, I need people to know, and we have a serious epidemic of cognitive dissonance going on right now. I put up a post on my Instagram, and it was a post to see just because I had come off of a couple of. Now let me just so you get a little history on it. I put up a post about a cell, a human cell, and the Earth having certain things in common. The flat earthers went crazy on my post out of nowhere. So I put up a couple more posts, and they were just so random. I can't even say it no other way, because flat earthers are the most vicious people on earth right now. You could just say, "Hey, I'm in the mood for pancakes," and they're like, "What? Pancakes like Earth?" Like they just come out of nowhere on any post and just attack. So I'm like, okay, I guess it's time for me to do a video on this, because people have been asking me for a while to do a video and weigh in on my opinion on flat Earth. I just never felt like it was a good time to do it, because in my mind, what I do is different than a lot of other quote-unquote conscious lecturers or teachers. I deal with people's health. So at any given day, I'm getting text messages and inbox about people like going to the bathroom to take a number 2 and blood coming out, or somebody in the hospital being released. Because this is I get people when the doctors, and this is the shit that kills me, I get people when the doctors say, "We're finished with you." So they don't come see me early on when it's easy and we can knock it out real quick and light.
Right.
They come
they wait
see
till
me
it's too
when
late.
the doctors are like, "Yeah, well, you got 2 weeks to live, so you probably want to," and then they hit me up like, "Hey, I'm desperate. What you got?" I'm like, "Nigga, jump in front of a truck." But so no. I usually I'm still able to get people out of those positions. It's really amazing how people can be told they only have a few weeks to live, and go along with that, and that the faith that they put in doctors makes what doctors say very powerful in determining their ability to recover, because their ability to recover really depends on their mental focus and power. And if they're feeding all their energy into the fact that they've already accepted death, it's a wrap. But so anyway, so this whole flat Earth energy was going on, and somebody sent me a text message about Phil Valentine's lecture and sent me a clip from it. So in Phil Valentine's lecture, he talked about the hole that's supposed to be at the North Pole and Admiral Byrd, et cetera, et cetera. So if you're coming out of like any school of thought that's familiar with Dr. York's old books, et cetera, you're familiar with that kind of stuff already. If not, you never heard of it before, so you want to get a little insight. Somebody sent it to me. So I put the post on my Instagram. So now somebody in the comments, and this is just an example of how far we are with the cognitive dissonance, and it's going to come around 360 in a second for you. Somebody said, "Listen, this Phil Valentine lecture is bullshit, because anything that has to do with a round earth or heliocentrism is sun worship, and it's bullshit." And I'm like, wait a minute. Huh? Because they finished off their comment with, "The church made that up. The church made up that heliocentric model. So it's bullshit. I'm like, wait a minute. The church is also the folks that made up the idea of sun worship, because there never was a such thing as sun worship. That was a way of stealing an entire planet's culture with the wave of a pen. With the wave of a pen, they stole an entire planet culture, because the sun, when you look in every single religion, all of the attributes that they give to God in various religions, I would say 99.999%, because there's maybe one or two attributes that you can't give to the sun testably. But every other attribute you give to the sun. The sun gives us daily sustenance. The sun gives life to everything on this planet. All you got to do is take away the sun, and you'll watch everything that doesn't have it rot. You know, even Europeans, with their lack of external melanin, they have internal neuromelanin, and without the sun, their brain will go. So
I did not know that.
Every single creature on this planet, is tied to the sun. And there has never, ever been a thing called sun worship. That is completely made up by the church to disenfranchise an entire planet from their way of living. The sun is what heals. So when we think about herbs, the reason why we think about herbs, because herbs fits into the same category as going vegan. You're trying to eat more plants and less, we'll just say less other things, because we know the other things don't give you life. It's scientifically proven that all the health is in the plants. Well, where do the plants get that from? Their ability to convert sunlight into crystals. They convert
you heard about that.
That's right. They convert sunlight into crystals. That's what sugar is. Sugars, and there's more sugar than just glucose. There's 8 essential sugars that we're supposed to get in our diet every day. The problem is most of us are confused about sugar. We know type 2 diabetes tearing black folks' ass up, so most of us scared of sugar now. When you need sugar, your body requires sugar to be healthy. Your brain got to have it. Your organ is just the type of sugar, which is the problem, in the ratios that we get these in. But there's 8 essential sugars that we're supposed to have daily. But these sugars are nothing more than crystals of energy that the plants make from absorbing and converting sunlight. And that's the photosynthesis process. Now, a lot of folks get this thing confused, and it kills me. It says like a super pet peeve of mine. Whenever I hear anybody say that black folks do photosynthesis, because I've been telling people for years, black folks do not do photosynthesis. Okay, that's not what melanin does. So you got these scientific papers that's released by this Spanish guy, and now everybody is trying to jump on the bandwagon and say, look, there's proof right here. The melanin does photosynthesis. Melanin does not do photosynthesis. Melanin takes light and converts light into electricity. Chlorophyll takes light and converts that into sugar crystals. There's a huge difference. We are the opposite of plants. That's why we live symbiotically with plants, because of the fact that we are polar opposites, we live off one another. We take in sugar and produce light. They take in light and produce sugar. We take in oxygen and let out carbon dioxide. They take in carbon dioxide and release oxygen. So that's our relationship. Now, the reason why we have to have plants in our diet, see, there's nothing in an animal that we actually need to eat. Like, there's no one thing And a lot of times we get caught up in false discussions, false debates. And it's a very good trick. People that are good debaters, people that are good conversationalists know when they're overmatched, they know how to segue into a false argument and get you lost.
Right.
So you asking, a vegan and a meat eater, the most popular strategy a meat eater will have in a debate with a vegan is where you getting your protein. That's not even, that right there is so like pre-K. It's so bullshit. I could bring my 7-year-old, I could bring Stace in here, he can handle that whole argument. You know, where does the goddamn animals that you're eating for protein get their protein? The plant. You know, so it's just super simple. The biggest land animals on Earth are vegetarians and vegans. You know, elephants are vegan. Gorillas are vegan. So where do they get their protein? And they're way bigger than people and way stronger than people. So where do they get their protein? You know, so that's not even an argument right there. There's nothing inside of a dead animal that we need to eat the dead animal for. Now, plants, on the other hand, plants have aromatic amino acids that we have to consume them for because they make them and we don't. And aromatic amino acids are everything when it comes to our biochemistry. Aromatic amino acids are the amino acids that absorb UV radiation. And the ability to absorb UV and infrared is where life really arises from. So when we get around, so just to close out, and that's what the red really means when people get deep into the Hebrew. It says what Hebrew means this and the red and the blood and the atom and this and that and the dom. And that red is really the infrared. That's what it really comes down to. That infrared is what. So even when you look at water and people talk about structured water right now, I still be laughing at these niggas with that because they don't know about what structured water is. But see, what happens is this. Most of everybody in the health industry is selling. So they have to use the current buzz phrases and buzzwords to push the buck forward. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But they know that most people are functional illiterates. So you're not going to know that they don't know. But a lot of these people, even a lot of the scholars, they don't know what they talking about. They just heard about it 15 minutes ago. They ain't got no books on it. They ain't go through no in-depth study, and they running it to you. Just like one of the young guards, you know, he came at me, and I know. Let me deal with this guy. No, I ain't gonna say his name because I don't want to give him no promotion. But I know. A little bit of a scholarship, like, hey, look at this stuff here. This is why we look sloppy to the globe. See, what we have to realize is why we're doing this. There's a purpose to this. We're doing this for progress globally. Black people are oppressed and afflicted worldwide with the same issues. We're never going to have global respect if we can't demonstrate a certain degree of discipline and intelligence. And if the people that are leading us are illiterate, funny. It's funny watching some of this stuff. We literally reflect the living color, the living color guys, the Damon Wayans character. and it's sad, and it's really sad because the watching audience is not smart enough to discern that. They don't know. That's the craziest shit. The person in front of you is functionally illiterate, and you don't know because you know less than he does.
It's either that or people are so scared to contradict their favorite person.
I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why it's a no. Because I thought of that. And I had that argument with my daughter. The reason is simple. It's so simple, only a child would think of it. Because I was thinking what you were thinking. And she was like, no, Dad, that's not a reason. You know why? Because they would just stop watching. I was like, damn, she just killed my whole argument. I had a deep argument with backups and everything. It's like, no, Dad, they would just stop watching. There's a bunch of y'all. Everybody has different favorites. Their favorite guy can't read what he's writing in his own presentation. They can't tell that he can't read that. They can't tell he can't read his own presentation. So that means they know less, and that is a problem for us. Who's going to respect that globally? When we had hundreds of years of our ancestors dying here for the right to read and write in public, and now our teachers can't do it. Huh?
Yeah, that's what. Oh, and let me cut you off just one real quick. I want to let people know if you would like to ask a question or you have a comment, you have to dial 347-855-8692 and just press 1. I also need to let you know that you are tuned in to My Skin is My Sin on Blog Talk Radio, from goons to gods. We welcome everyone. We only got one rule, and that's be respectful. Don't forget to check out the groups, All Black Everything and My Skin is My Sin, and check out the website, myskinismysin.com. All right, just had to get that out the way, bro. My bad.
That's all good. So when it comes to melanin, I take that serious because that is what separates us from everybody else, is this external level of this incredible polymer we have that gives us a special relationship with the sun. And so to know the history that people that did not have that relationship with the sun came up with this tricky term, sun worship, to disenfranchise everybody from it and say, oh, well, in order for you to be, you can't worship God. You can't believe in God if you're a sun worshiper. What was that? The sun worship, what's the tenets of sun worship? You got to think about it. What's the tenets of sun worship? Getting out into the sun? Looking up at the sun and saying, thanks for giving me life. Thanks for making sure that I have food to eat. Like, what are the tenets of sun worship? Because now that it's been documented and they've given out so many Nobel Prizes to people who have uncovered, quote-unquote, new revelations about the sun. The sun cures herpes. The sun cures this type of bacteria. It kills this type of virus. The sun is the reason why people are having bad eyes, far-sighted and nearsighted. The sun is this, that, and the other. So now all these things are coming out about the sun. Alzheimer's, sun-related. Like all these things that we're dealing with now, new science is saying it's because of our poor relationship with the sun. All these years, people getting skin cancer, they thought they was getting it from the sun. They was getting it from the suntan lotion. Because the suntan lotion blocks out the UVB, which is the most nutritive part or nutritive in terms of what's been documented so far, let me say it that way, of the UV spectrum. You have UVA, UVB, and UVC. And then you have some UV beyond UVC, but that's considered in the infrared. It gets a little weird once you go past UVC. But UVC doesn't really reach the Earth that much. Mm-hmm. However, they use it in all of the places that they have to have absolute sanitation. So, like with surgical tools, they use UVC to make sure that those tools are cleaned. Right. Because UVC destroys all viruses and bacteria. UVB is what's responsible for your testosterone levels, vitamin D. I mean, I could run down. We could do a whole show on what UVB does in the body. Now, UVA is what is usually the troublemaker. And suntan lotion only blocks out UVB and lets in UVA. Now, when you hear some people talk and they get halfway technical about different types of sunlight and different types of radiation, what usually separates the men from the boys is that the men know that the blend is more important than any specific part of the spectrum. Meaning, when you go out in the sun, you're not just getting UVB or UVC or UVA. You're getting all of the radiation from the sun at one time, which is a specific mix. That mix is more important than any one part of the spectrum.
Okay.
Because it does. You have antagonists, even in the different types of light. You have antagonists like red and blue light from the visible light are antagonists of one another. So blue light causes a lot of problems in your body that red light fixes. But when you deal with UVA and UVB kind of neutralizes the carcinogenic effect of UVA. And so what the suntan lotion did is blocked out the UVB. So all you're getting is the problem causing UVA for people that are lighter skinned, that have pheomelanin on into no melanin, which is another misnomer. We think that all black people have eumelanin. Let that stop here tonight. All of the light-skinned family has pheomelanin. There's two different types of eumelanin, which is the brown into the super dark browns and blacks. Then you have the dark brown into the lighter brown, like that Usher complexion. And then beyond that, you dealing with pheomelanin. So my Chris Brown, my Albie Shore folk, is pheomelanin.
Okay, so what's the difference though as far as like functionality for your body?
The difference is the biochemistry is different. The sulfur content is higher because that's what produces pheomelanin. Anytime you have sulfur-based alcohols present, when melanin is being produced, you're going to get pheomelanin instead of eumelanin or sulfathiol. And I did a video for people that really want clarity on that. It's called Genocide by Ammonia, the Melanin Code of Silence, because going through these various schools, I noticed one thing. They don't talk about water, and they don't talk about melanin. You can go through the health textbook. They don't talk about water. They don't talk about melanin, and those are the most two important things in biology. All right? Or I should say water and pigment, because when it comes to pigment, your body has, even black folks, we have about 10 to 20 different pigments in our body. We got a bunch of different pigments just in our eyes alone, neuropsin, melanopsin, lutein, and all. These are all different pigments because you have to have different types of pigment to absorb the different parts of the spectrum, especially in your eye. All of your brain, like every single one of the hormones in your body is regulated by the sun. Let's just do it like that. So if we get less than 16 minutes a day of actual sunlight, and I shouldn't even say sunlight, that's outside time, and there's not always sunlight outside.
Right.
So the average person is less than 16 minutes a day outside because we wake up, we in the house, we get dressed, we do our thing, we jump in the car, and we go to work or we go to school.
I never even thought about that, bro. Now that you brought it up, like I literally probably get like 7 minutes of sunlight a day.
Yeah, because then once we get to school or work, we're there until 4, 5 o'clock. Sun is on its way down.
Mm-hmm.
We jump back in the bus or the car, and we go home, and then we in the house. Anything we doing after that is maybe some nighttime activity. We coming back out, but the sun is gone.
Facts.
So if all of our hormones are regulated by the sun and we don't get any, this whole health thing is one big hustle. And when I say one big hustle, I mean every part of it. I'm talking about training, the fitness part, with people in the gym, pushing the gym. I'm talking about dietitians and nutritionists, people pushing diet, eat this way, eat this way, eat this way. You know, whether it's alkaline diet, vegan diet, vegetarian diet, paleo, epi-paleo, pescatarian, all these kind of diets. None of those diets work without the adequate sunlight. You got people pushing
that
herbs,
would explain
herbs,
like
herbs,
the increase in the nut cases You know, because the more technology has taken over our lives, the less time we spent outside, which is driving us crazy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was a study. It was a study that just came out talking about people's vision for real, as far as the youth.
Let me tell you the craziest thing that they recently put out on people's vision. Most people, the largest population in America that loses their eyesight is college graduates. College graduates. And the reason is this. Your eyes are muscles. But see, we don't know that. These are just basic things about the body we should know. This is why I have the God complex course. It's like people have to know their body. There's no way to get healthy without knowing your body, period. You have to know it. Nobody can give you the instructions to be at your best because each individual's biochemistry is completely different. So there are certain things in general but everybody's body is different specifically. So none of these dynamics, whether it's the herbs, the working out, the diet, none of them is going to lead us to health if we exclude the right type of light from the sun. That's the first and foremost most important thing. We got to start right there. So
I'm glad. I'm so glad that you broke that down, and I just want to give myself a pat on the back. I must have been a smart young man for appreciate how much the sun helps us at 16 years old. I didn't know that much. I just knew if it wasn't no sun, we would be gone. So let me give myself a pat on the back. You feel what I'm saying?
Yes. But actually, that's not even your pat on the back. To be honest, that's okay. One of your ancestors somewhere that had that crystallized that memory and passed that down, and it just woke up in you. That's genetic memory unfurling right there. It's like when you have a craving for a specific thing, it's usually tied to nutrients. It's either tied to nutrients or parasites. That's where our cravings come from. They have an origin somewhere inside of us. And usually they start with things that we need. They're not something that we need, then it's something that is in us needs, which is the parasite. But it comes from an internal need one way or another. Either it's our internal need or it's a passenger or a tenant that we have living inside of us. It's one of their needs. But that's where all of our cravings come from. And so you craving the sun at that early or craving that relationship was just something that you needed. It's just like pregnant women in ice. You know, pregnancy is largely contingent upon fat. The type of fat that you have is very, 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 I can't say very enough, important to whether a woman will even get pregnant. Mm-hmm. If she gets pregnant, whether it'll be a healthy pregnancy, the child will have brain damage. All these things are crucial and dependent upon the fat. In our bodies, we have two different types of fat. We have brown adipose tissue and white adipose tissue. At birth, black folks are blessed to have a super high amount of brown and black adipose tissue. Other ethnic groups, they don't fare so well. This is why that little machine was invented to warm up the babies. See, if you're born with a high level of brown adipose tissue in your body, you don't need a machine to warm you up. Your body can produce its own heat from thermogenesis. Mm-hmm. That's what brown fat does inside the body, because the difference between a brown fat cell and a white fat cell is that a white fat cell is empty. There's nothing in it but sugar, starch, and junk. Bacteria, viruses can hide in there. There's nothing in there but junk. Inside of a brown fat cell, it's loaded with mitochondria.
Okay.
And so that's where the thermogenic effect takes place. Another key thing to everyone's health, but that's also involved in fat and women being able to get pregnant or not, is DHA. And DHA is very important because a lot of vegetarians and vegans don't get enough of it in their diet. And the pink lips, I realized with the Mama Atomics, see, when I designed the Mama Atomics, my daughter had broken her neck, and, well, she didn't break her neck. She got hit by a car.
Wow.
But my thing was to put together something that would get her back in the game. And so my study at the time was on our relationship with the sun and making the body more receptive to that, because I had found out through being a father. And it's very important that we go through that process with our ladies, because you learn so much about the body, especially if you really into your lady and the baby and all that kind of stuff. But I learned that there was foods that would make you more sensitive to the sun. Foods that would make you more sensitive to the sun. Whereas you could stand out in the sun and it might take you to be out there a couple hours to get a tan. There's certain foods and herbs you can eat that would make you tan in minutes. And I'm like, oh, shit. Okay, well, 2 + 2 = 4. If the sun heals certain things, it regrows nerves and bone, why not make the body more sensitive when in a compromised state to the sun and light, and then that'll speed up healing. 2 + 2 = 4. So that's what I did with the Mama Atomics. Later on, I figured out there was still some more things we needed. So if you go in my book, The Melanin Mind State, it has that in there, but it also talks about the type of electricity that runs through the body, and one of which, especially in terms of regeneration, is called the DC current. DC is what our body uses to regenerate. Melanin allows us to absorb certain types of light and radiation, but it's DHA that actually is able to convert that into electricity. So melanin works closely with DHA. DHA you get from the ocean. So that's why I created the pink lips, which is a new compound high in chondrus crispus or sea moss and kelp, and a couple of other slick little ingredients, but to give us silica, rebuild the crystals in the bones, because the bones are semiconductors and they illuminate, they light up when you apply pressure to them in a healthy body. But to get that DHA back into the diet, because vegans don't eat fish. They don't eat shrimp. They don't eat lobster. They don't eat things from the ocean. And a lot of them, especially when you look at the larger group of vegans, they're into soy. Everything is soyed out. I mean, soy. And this is why a lot of vegans...
Soy is so nasty too, man.
Well, it's just some ways to... It's some ways to make some delicious soy. Let me not talk too reckless.
You can finesse it.
You could definitely...
Right. I don't know. I have yet to come across that way. And we do have a caller in the queue too, 9271. And right before I get to them, well, as a matter of fact, you know what?
I got
ask
a
the
question too.
Oh,
yeah, go ahead.
All right, so wait.
You
Before we go to the callers, let me just do this. Wait, before we go to the callers, let me do this. It'll take me less than 5 minutes.
I got you.
Okay, so because I want to make sure that nobody can say our show was clickbait. So let's do it like this. Inside the body, you have 2 basic types of melanin. Now, I said earlier you got a bunch of different types of pigment, but we're talking about melanin, right? So you have your internal melanin and your external melanin. Now, some people like to break it down even further, and the neuromelanin is internal, external. Make it super simple. In the brain is so electric that the brain can reduce tyrosine without the help of enzymes. So you don't need melanocytes in the brain for the production of neuromelanin. Everywhere else in the body, melanocytes are the specific type of cell that produces melanin. Melanocytes have in them enzymes called melanosomes. Melanosomes. And melanosomes tie themselves, they bind themselves like little babies to a mama's breast. The mama's breast is mitochondria. Mitochondria pump energy directly into the melanosomes, and they pump out melanin. Right? So that's where melanin comes from in the body. Tyrosine. All right? Those enzymes, those melanosomes, are taking the energy from the mitochondria to reduce. And in science or biology, when you say reduce, what you're really saying is electrify, right? So it electrifies tyrosine, to make it simple, into what we know of as melanin. And tyrosine is a very, very, very special amino acid, just to occupy that slot. So I just want to give people some of the basics on melanin, because we talked about so much stuff. I want to make sure we at least get to that. All right? So, and when we look up in the sky, family, please, when we look up in the sky, family, we're not looking at melanin at nighttime, okay? I want you guys to stop that, okay? It's cold in space. Cold in space.
I know he's good with that.
Listen, because I hear a lot of crazy stuff. And I'm like, man, we got to stop some of this crazy stuff, because poverty makes us just look for, like, homeostasis. Like, we just want something to feel good about. So we trading in the church for a new type of church. Consciousness is the new church. You just want to hear some shit to make you feel good, and then you back to your 9 to 5 to make white folks rich again. Like, it doesn't make sense. And then you got Christians, Catholics, Muslims, Buddhists, Moors, all these groups of people. They tell you, yeah, we don't do this and we don't do that, and the white man is the devil, and blah, 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 blah. As soon as one of them niggas gets sick, where they going? To the hospital.
Pretty much.
Soon as one of them needs some money, where they going? Borrow money from the bank. Like, so your actions speak louder than your words. If you're a devout Muslim or Christian, I've read the Quran and the Bible. Nowhere in the Quran or the Bible does it say when you get sick, go to the hospital. Hospital's not even in those books. It don't say go to the doctor. It don't say take no pills. It don't say take no injection. So the moment that you get all hooting and hollering and pump your chest out, and you see how folks debating and, yeah, no, it's the Bible, and you got to go with the Bible. And you got any vaccines? Are you vaccinated? Is your child?
Hey man, we got to get to a caller, bro. I want to make sure that somebody gets a chance to ask a question besides me and AJ. So hold that thought 1 second, man. We're gonna get to 9271 right quick. What's good, fam? And who's this caller?
Good evening. This is Dr. Emin. Yes, I was listening to him, and I never heard him get to the answer of why most people losing their eyesight were college graduates.
Oh, okay. That's a good one. I'm glad you brought me back to that. Because the eyes are muscles, and whenever you work out a muscle, you have to remember it's 3 steps to building muscles. The exercising part, which breaks down the muscle, the nutrition part, which supplies your body with the material needed to rebuild the muscle, and then sleep, which is the resting component, which is where regeneration takes place. So all of these college students, they go into school, they're doing excessive amounts of study, which is reading, whether it's on the computer or in books, and they're eating pizza and drinking beer. Those are the number 1 and number 2 foods for college students, pizza and beer. So they're destroying the muscle fabric of their eyes, but they're not eating the right type of nutrition to rebuild the eyes. Now, to make it even worse, we're no longer just using books. Now we're using tablets and laptops and cell phones. And in tablets, laptops, and cell phones, along with the new types of TVs, there's only one type of light that comes from the screen, which is blue light.
Right.
And so everybody take that down as a note to look up tonight, the dangers of blue light. Melanopsin is the pigment in the eye responsible for absorbing blue light and sending that signal back to the pituitary gland early in the morning to wake us up, like a jolt of energy. That's what it's for. We're not supposed to be in a sea of blue light 24 hours a day, which is what most of us are in. So the fact that we're not getting in the nutrition to compensate the eyes, we're not eating a diverse amount of pigments in our food. And this is crazy because I even got deeply embroiled in a debate, a long-standing debate with a quote-unquote conscious holistic healer. And he's telling people, yeah, eat the fruits and the vegetables, but you got to cut the skin off of all the fruits and the vegetables because you from absorbing iron in your diet. I'm like, wait, what the what? I'm like, these niggas are nuts. And this is like, and then there was like, and there's people on both sides of the debate. And when that happened, this is a couple years ago, but when that happened, I realized what was going on to us in large. I said, you know what's happening? The people don't really understand the science and the information. And so what that does is cripples them, because when two people have a difference of opinion that they respect, what they have to do is go with the person whose personality they like the most and say, that's what I think is the truth. And that's killing us right now when it comes to our health. We can't allow personality worship to dictate how we feed ourselves and feed our children. I used to wear real thick glasses until I loaded myself up with vitamin A, vitamin D, and stayed outside. All of our children, look at all of the children that stay inside the house and play video games all day. None of them can see. All of them are wearing glasses right now. And they're all going to keep getting thicker and thicker glasses because of the blue light and the lack of sunlight. So,
that's true.
Your question, sis, it's the blue light and the lack of the pigments that we need, which is a diverse array of colors in our plant-based diet. And college students don't eat that. They have a very poor diet. You have, you have the pizza thing, and then outside that, you have the quote-unquote fitness movement. And the fitness movement is really hurting our health long-term because it's a meat testosterone thing. So they're not really getting the right amount of plants in their diet to get the pigments they need either. And the eye is the place where you need the most amount of pigmentation. Your eye actually takes the orange and red pigments to produce purples, and so we have a whole entire chemistry dependent upon pigments. Even our digestion, like when people try to explain, because it's slick and it sounds real good. So people will be like, yeah, now look at the red blood cell and look at the plant cell. The plant cell has magnesium and the red blood cell has iron, and look how close they are. So they don't understand that. Red blood cells actually absorb just as much, if not more, UV radiation than melanin. Red blood cells.
Yeah, because it used to be chlorophyll, and so it's a derivative of chlorophyll, or a variation on chlorophyll.
Well, it's a similar pigment. Our red blood cells are also pigment. So it's a similar pigment. It's not like, it's just chlorophyll we're so familiar with, so we like to base everything around chlorophyll, but it's not really that serious with chlorophyll. It's pigments all throughout nature. Every time you see color in anything that's living, that's a pigment. And whenever you see multiple colors in a living thing, that's multiple pigments you're looking at right there. So it just shows the affinity in terms of function. And that's what people that are quoting other people that aren't really well studied miss. Chlorophyll is what allows plants to absorb UV radiation. Heme, the part of our blood that the iron sits in, absorbs UV radiation in the same way. And the reason is because proteins are not active.
Yes, the chlorophyll molecule is very similar to the chlorophyll molecule, except it has the heme, the iron molecule, rather than the chlorine for the chlorophyll.
Well, it's iron, yeah, the mineral iron. But you got to understand, in our diet, when we're eating peptides and proteins, they're not active until they are hydrated and until they're lit by solar radiation, which is the reason why all of the blood in our body passes through our eyes in every 2 hours. 12 times a day, all of the blood in our body passes through our eyes. We were born and made to be outside so that our eyes would constantly be in light, natural light.
Mm-hmm.
This is what allows our food to properly digest. This is why we having digestion issues. Basic. We deal with probiotics. The number one reason why we don't have good probiotics throughout our digestive system is because we haven't really mastered the science of proper breathing. We're supposed to breathe through our nose only, not through our mouth. Now, when you're talking, obviously you can't help it. But outside of that, we're mouth breathers. And that's completely contradictory to our health. Our water is supposed to be living water. Living water has microorganisms in it. Living water has microorganisms in it. It's not distilled. Distilled water is not what we're supposed to be drinking. Distilled water leaches minerals from our body. Reverse osmosis water is the same as distilled water. It leaches minerals from the body. If you analyze the content of natural spring water from a spring and distilled water is nowhere near the same. These alkaline waters coming out of these machines that people hooking up to tap water, absolutely detrimental for the body. Absolutely detrimental for the body. I have a video up on it going deeper into what they do. They break the water molecule in half, so you're getting hydroxyl ions. A basic water molecule is 2 hydrogens and 1 oxygen. They use the metal plates and electricity in these machines, these water ionizers, to split that water molecule in 2. So you have a hydrogen by itself, which becomes a free radical, and that runs out the stream of water that goes back into the sink. And then the one that you're supposed to drink is the oxygen tied to the single hydrogen. And that's supposed to be alkaline, but that's a false alkalinity because there's no minerals present. And it's minerals, especially bicarbonates, that actually buffer acids into neutrality. What we think of as alkaline is not always alkaline. What we think of as acid is not always acid. That's why we got to understand a little bit more biochemistry. You know, like I'm saving this for a video, but I share it with the family here. Now, when I say this, it's gonna be madness. So actually, you know what? I'm gonna save it. I got a video coming. I'm gonna save it. But
come on, man, you can't do it like that, bro.
Because listen, we only got like 20 minutes left. And if I say this, it'd be like a whole show. It'd be like a whole show. So I don't want to say it. We just got to come back on to do some more shows. But
no doubt.
But the
I will definitely send you another invitation. We need you back, brother. We definitely need you back.
Yeah, because we talked about so much other stuff that took up some melanin time. But the magic of melanin is its major key is to facilitate structuring of water. And structuring of water is everything inside your body. Structured water is not a liquid. Now, you can have water that's in the beginning phases of structuring that's still a liquid, but structured water in its full pride and glory is gel. That's the gel that's inside your cells, cytoplasm. Or if you chop open the cactus in the desert, the water inside the cactus doesn't, like if you chop open the cactus and you turn it upside down, the water just doesn't spill out like a cup of water because it's in gel form. That's how structured water is. And that's what facilitates all the biochemical actions in the body. And that's why proteins are so important, because on the external, on the outside of all proteins, they have a variety of charges. Those charges line up water molecules towards them, because water molecules are dipole. You have a negative and a positive charge. Now, the fact that they're tetrahedral shaped, it makes it a little bit crazy, but just know that it's a dipole, a positive and a negative. So depending on what type of charge is on the protein, proteins are everywhere throughout the cell. A cell membrane is about 50% fats and 50% proteins. Then all throughout the cell you have mitochondria, which is protein. The enzymes are proteins. All of these things are protein-based. So all of these things structure water. And when you have water structuring, it structures in hexagrams, which is the same shape. This hexagram shape is the same shape. And this is why it actually came out of biology and into other sciences, that hexagram shape. But the shape of structured water is a hexagram. The shape of an aromatic amino acid ring is a hexagram, and that's what allows amino acids, that aromatic amino acids anyway, to absorb UV. And so this is one of nature's basically sacred shapes, especially in terms of biology. And this is how you have it come out into what we know of as the Enqi system, to predict things going on this planet, because what links us with the rest of the cosmos is not necessarily melanin. It's plasma. The plasma in your body, the plasma everywhere else. When I was little in school and I looked in science, and they explained that 99% of the world, or the universe, was plasma, and 1% was matter. 1% was physical matter, the rest was plasma. I was going through science in the days. I'm like, so why is all of our science bent on studying the 1%? Like, why aren't we studying plasma? Then I heard when I got into the health, I'm listening to all of these holistic health people talk about diets, and they talk about herbs. Some of them get into detoxing the blood and that. I'm like, you guys do know that blood is mostly plasma, right? And there's 3 times more lymph in the body than blood. Why are we focused on that? And then a lot of people that were focused on blood and how to clean blood was also saying that you don't need protein. And I'm like, wait a minute. Do you guys know that blood is protein? You do know that red blood cells are proteins, right? You do know that hormones throughout the body are proteins, right? Like, what? Are these niggas reading, or are they just regurgitating what someone else is saying? So it just areas that people weren't looking in. And so when you look at plasma, inflammation in the plasma is what removes the protection off of the cells, the glycocalyx. All of the cells in the interior of our body have a glycocalyx to protect them from white blood cells. Women are having fertility issues, especially women that have the ectopic pregnancies, the chemical pregnancies, or these situations where they're carrying babies, stillbirths, where they're carrying babies that are passed a long time ago, but they still got to carry the baby because the baby lodged in their fallopian tube somewhere, something like that. All of that is due to internal inflammation and the removal of the glycocalyx, because when an egg gets fertilized in the fallopian tube, it's actually the glycocalyx that guides it from the fallopian tube, or through the fallopian tubes, I should say, or rather the fimbriae grab it, pass it to the glycocalyx, and they kind of hand it off all the way down into the womb where it embeds itself in the wall. But if there's no glycocalyx there because of high levels of inflammation, guess what? That fertilized egg is just kind of rolling through there, and it may slip and lodge anywhere because it doesn't have the glycocalyx there to guide it where it needs to go. When we look at type 1 diabetes, oh, man, it's the glycocalyx that's missing in the pancreas that allows white blood cells to slip into the pancreas and attack the beta cells in there. Same thing going on with MS in the myelin sheath. All of these places, inflammation plays a key role in these illnesses because inflammation removes the glycocalyx. The glycocalyx and vitamin D serve as the glue to hold cells together. You know, so you don't have tissues unless you have something to glue cells together into tissues. The glycocalyx serves as that glue along with a host of other functions. So a lot of just basic stuff that we should know about the body, like I said, we don't, and that's what's killing us. You know what I'm saying? So,
man, you say basic, man. You talking like a chemistry professor.
What promotes the inflammation?
Well, you have two different types of inflammation. You have acute inflammation. Actually, if you ask me, I say you have three different types. If you ask a doctor or a medical professional, they're going to tell you have two different types. You have acute inflammation, and then you have chronic inflammation.
Right.
I would include, what is it called? I'm trying to think of the scientific name. It's slipping my tongue right now. It's called wasting syndrome, though.
I know what you're talking about. It's like when you don't use something and like your muscles just wither away.
Well, right. Your muscles are withering away, and no matter how much you eat or try to exercise, you just can't. Like, you just keep getting skinnier and skinnier and skinnier. So, a lot of cancer patients get wasting syndrome. Mm-hmm. A lot of HIV/AIDS patients get wasting syndrome. A lot of autoimmune people get that. And basically, your basic two levels, though, are simple. Acute inflammation is when you have a breach of the skin or the mucous membrane somewhere and you get a foreigner in the body. White blood cells come and try to eat it. They try to come eat it. Now, here's the thing about white blood cells. And I always have to say this to everybody, because I think one of the biggest misconceptions is that white blood cells are your friends. They're not. White blood cells are not even really blood cells, because in order for them to qualify as a blood cell, they have to be confined to the circulatory system, and they're not. Red blood cells can't decide, hey, you know what? Let's go hang out down in the lung right now. Like, you know what?
Right.
Let's just leave the veins and the arteries and let's just go up to the skin. White blood cells can do that. Mm-hmm. They release histamine in the body to open holes in your cells, in your tissues. So this histamine is what breaks up the glycocalyx, which is the glue that holds the cells together, so they can open up holes in tissues to move through there. So usually when you have an acute inflammation, that is something breaches the body, and the white blood cells release all their chemicals, raising hell, to try to get there and eat whatever breached the body.
Right.
Now, what makes it acute versus chronic is once that thing that breached the body is gone, the inflammation stops. The white blood cells go back to doing whatever they was doing before that. And, you know, the swelling or the fluid that you see there in that spot or the redness dissipates because the white blood cells are no longer releasing cytokines and histamines and all kinds of, you know, all their little molecules of, you know, all their little weapons. Chronic inflammation is where the problem or the guy that breached the body is gone, but the white blood cells are still stuck in fight mode, and they're still releasing histamines and cytokines and all of these other little chemicals that they release to affect their ends or their means. Now, when it goes further than that, so that right there is what creates the situation where you have a foundation for autoimmune disease and cancers to kind of start. When you have inflammation in your body that you can't get rid of. Mm-hmm. Things that keep inflammation going. White fat cells. This is why they are very dangerous. And we just think about fat in terms of vanity. That's the only thing we look at fat as for is vanity. But we don't realize that fat is the number one player in terms of type 2 diabetes. Fat's the number one player. Sugar's not the star of the show. It's the fact that we're lazy and we're not really working out, so the sugar's not being used. It's just accumulating. And what happens is your body releases cleaner chemicals to come on through there and push all that stuff in the fat cells. So the fat cells are just getting fatter and fatter and fatter and fatter until even they get so fat, it's just stuff just has nowhere to go, and you start getting oxidative damage to the tissues, et cetera, et cetera. But really it's fat that's stopping the muscle cells from being able to absorb or becoming insulin resistant. And then you have a lot of other things that create inflammation, like blue light. I gotta keep referring to that because I want that to stand out in people's minds. So, if you're always on your cell phone, if you're always on a laptop, if you're on a combination of the two, like we probably are now, you're producing inflammation in your body, which is the reason why you always need antioxidants in your diet, a high amount of antioxidants in the diet. Certain herbs you want to constantly keep in your diet all the time, period. Certain herbs you want to take therapeutically. They're only good for situations. Situation-based, you want to take those and then come up off of them. But these are just certain little things. Like I said, it's a host of things that we have to learn. Like, why is it that our toenails are changing colors? Like, and people can't fix it. They're going to get fungus, all kinds of crazy stuff. And why? It's just so many different things. And I have an associate in Texas. We actually working on, or we discussed it earlier. A magic melanin. The melanin magic type of shoe. But that's her baby. She just asked me to help her out on it. So I ain't gonna go into it, but just prompting the family. Look for that. Coming soon to a theater near you.
Coming soon.
Hey, you make sure you keep us posted, man, so we can help promote it.
No doubt. But I'm gonna be back on before then because I see we got too much chemistry. We be all over the place, so we gotta make sure we tie it down, stick to the melanin. But copper is very important for melanin maintenance. B vitamins are very important for melanin maintenance. Selenium, very important for melanin maintenance.
Selenium is that what? Oh man, it's a what is that I think that's in? Is that in Metamucil? Don't ask me why. I thought that. I think it is.
I'm not. Let me say this. I'm not sure, but I will say this: Metamucil is not sold for its selenium content. It's sold for its fiber content, and fiber is. And listen, let me tell you something. I'm glad you brought that up. Fiber is the craziest thing. It shows how insane we are in terms of our bodies. Fiber is the part of fruits and vegetables that is indigestible, meaning we are not supposed to eat fiber. We are not supposed to eat fiber, but these fiber-selling companies make billions of dollars a year selling niggas fiber that we're not supposed to eat anyway. And fiber always exacerbates the problem. Most people are taking fiber to have better bowel movement. You don't need fiber to have better bowel movement. You need a hydrated colon. You need a hydrated digestive system. That's what you need. Water, hydrogen, period. Because fiber, your body has no way to break it down. So what fiber does is basically it pushes anything in front of it out, which is cool if you're backed up and you got a bunch of stuff in there. If you want to just do that one time maybe, but you actually create a situation where you're going to have some pretty nasty parasites throughout the colon and the lower intestinal area because there's little pockets and the fiber pushes parasites and some fecal matter into these pockets and compacts them, and the parasites are now behind a little wall of feces that herbs and even medicines can't reach behind because you're using this fiber. Also, your body pulls water from everywhere into the colon. So a dehydrated person is the only type of person that can't have a good bowel movement. So they go get fiber. And fiber pulls water from the rest of the body to force a bowel movement, because your body has to force out this indigestible shit called fiber that you're not supposed to have in it in the first place. So now, after every time you use fiber, you're always more dehydrated than you were before you used the fiber. When you get natural fruits and vegetables, the natural fruits and vegetables have a portion of fiber in them. It also has a portion of water in them so that it goes together. This is the thing about getting your nutrition from nature versus man-made breakdown. When man sells you the vitamin is going to be extracted from these plants, which would include the water, which would include the fiber, the proteins, the minerals, the enzymes. That has to be added to the top three. The three we ran through earlier, that we have to add a top four. Top five. We just got to make it top five. Yeah. We got to do that. Because enzymes, and I know we only got 9 minutes left. I got to get off. But, but people are the only living species of life. And that might be redundant, but I have to say it that way to get the point across. We're the only species alive on this planet that eats a diet devoid of enzymes. And you only have two major groups of enzymes. You have metabolic enzymes and digestive enzymes, period. And when you don't have digestive enzymes, your body has to steal metabolic enzymes. And so for the family that's not aware, a metabolic enzyme is basically an enzyme that lives inside a cell somewhere that's working. So in order for your heart to work, you have metabolic enzymes in your heart cells that make your heart function. In order for your liver to work, there are metabolic enzymes inside the liver cells that make. So anytime there's an area in your body, we give the credit to cells, but cells are nothing more than groups of enzymes that live in a specific type of water that do a job in your body, period. That's what a cell is. Enzymes that live in water that do jobs, period. So your body has to convert these metabolic enzymes into digestive ones to break the food down. When that happens, the cells are losing their ability to accomplish their job because the workforce is gone. So every time we eat a meal that comes out of a box, out of a bag, and then we add some dead animal to that, we're depleting our body of metabolic enzymes. We're pulling the enzymes out of our cells. We're creating dead cells in our body every time we do that, and we're the only ones that do that. And the salivary glands don't produce any enzymes to break down meat, any enzymes to break down, well, I'll just leave it at that. They don't produce any enzymes to break down meat. You know, this new stuff that's on the market doesn't even qualify as meat, fat, or I don't even know what some of this stuff is that we're eating now. It's just gobbledygook is the best I can call some of this shit. It's crazy.
Yeah, I am a consumer of the gobbledygook. I'm not gonna lie.
Hey,
man,
I was raised on gobbledygook. Okay, so that's right. So that's no excuse. I'm not attacking gobbledygook per se exactly. I'm just saying at some point we have to realize that our ability to think is based on how we eat, how we live, and our relationship to the sun. We know so little about the sun and the inside of our body. That is the biggest distraction. All of the shit going on in the world is to take us off of our internal biochemistry and how it relates to that ball up there in the sky. We don't even realize that, like, certain things we just take for granted, like the sun's rays being hot and warm. If the sun's rays was hot and warm, then space wouldn't be cold.
Yeah, that's deep right there.
Listen, man, the God complex is open for everybody that want to get this real work. You know what I'm saying? Like we got to get this real work. You know what I'm saying? We have to know our body. You know, that's something that we got to pass that on to the babies. And that's where all of the new technology is coming from. The biggest growing sector is biotech. And the entire biosec industry is based on black genetics.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
The entire biotech industry, the biotech industry is based on black genetics. And this is why Henrietta Lacks' story is so famous. And we have to understand these double standard type of stories. Like, a story can be told in a way, and they're starting to master this in Hollywood, where certain groups of people appreciate it, but the antagonists also appreciate it. So, like, for instance, the story Get Out, right? Mm-hmm. With Get Out, you got a lot of black people like, oh, man, it's amazing because somebody told our story. How do you know that movie was told for you and that's your story? That might just be a warning for you niggas to stay out the goddamn suburbs, because everybody that left had a new invigorated fear of white folks.
And on that note,
I ain't messing with
before you go any further, I want to let people. I want to let people know, man. Definitely appreciate, man. You chopping it up with us tonight, man. I learned so much, man. And I'm gonna go cry a little bit. I'm not gonna lie, because I feel worse about myself right now. But I'm gonna get it together. This Saturday, I want to let y'all know we got Cynthia McKinney coming up too at 8:00, special show. So we got Dr. Valentine coming up in a couple of weeks, and then hopefully a special surprise next week. So tune in every Thursday. And like I say, this Saturday we got 6-time House of Representative Cynthia McKinney. So that should be dope too, man. And again, man, just appreciate your time and your wisdom, bro. Like, damn, this was a lot of information to soak up.
Yeah, man. All this knowledge out here, man, is easy to obtain. As quick as most of y'all find these twerk videos, y'all can definitely look up my brother Minister Enqi for real to get this work and get this knowledge, man. We gotta bring you back on the show, man, because we didn't even cover all of the bases yet, man. This is just the beginning. You feel me? Because I was just invigorated listening to it, and I'm looking at my pad right now with a lot more questions. But I'm gonna save this, and more than likely we're gonna work something out, man, so we can continue this. I'm
a little upset too, man. I literally had 2 pages of questions too, man. I got like 1 hour.
All right, the first open slot, the first open slot you got. Let's book it and let's get it back popping. And you know what we can do is, if you got a real tight listening base, like if your listeners are usually the same listeners, the next show, what we'll do is we'll just pick up right here where we left off, and we could deal with all the questions, comments, and people calling in can get it off. Because I know a lot of times when people hear stuff, especially stuff you're not used to hearing, it generates more questions than answers.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
They're like, wait, what? He said what? Hell no. So that's why I didn't want to say too much crazy stuff, because then I would have spent too much time trying to reinforce those things. But yeah, so we'll come back next time and let's get it in, man.
No doubt, man. You family, bro. You welcome anytime. Oh, follow us on Instagram, man. My skin is my sin, 1 the number.
All one word?
Yep. Well, 1 is a number, so that's not a word. I'm just saying.
Thank you. No doubt.
Hey, any last words? Anybody got anything they want to say?
I just keep it short and quick, man. Be one, black to the future. You feel what I'm saying? Black first.
Got a slogan, though? Tell me you had a slogan, bro.
I'm gonna send it to you in the inbox. You feel?
Right. It's too late now. You just said it already. You know, how you gonna introduce a slogan, man? You say nothing. Anyway, man. Again, man. Thanks, Minister Enqi, for just dropping so many gems, man. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Y'all already know, man. Like I said, check us out Saturday at 8 p.m. Cynthia McKinney should be calling up, and that should be a phenomenal show as well. Don't forget to check out the groups, All Black Everything and My Skin Is My Sin, and the website, myskinismysin.com. Shout out to Renee Black, man. If y'all don't know, she do the graphics, I make up the shirts, and, man, she just hit me with some phenomenal stuff.
Can we use that same... For the next flyer, I want to use that same background graphic because I want to touch on that. Like when I was leading into the show, I had so much stuff written down to cover tonight. And I like that graphic with the melanin in the girl's mouth, like eating the melanin. So I want to deal with that like we pick up with the next show.
Oh, no doubt. And if you need some graphics, man, no doubt. Hit up Renee Black. You know, and all you got to do is inbox me. I'll put you in, you know, and, well, you already know knowledge, man. So you can hit. He definitely got the plug with Renee Black too. So damn, where was I at? Oh, check out the website myskinismysin.com. Oh, and the Conscious Olympics coming soon. I don't want y'all to forget about that. Hopefully July 30th. That's what we're looking at. And if you're not familiar, it's a black game show. It's Jeopardy for black folks, basically. It's about time we start celebrating our greatness. We'll be giving away $500 to the winner. So when you see that, don't forget.
We are live streaming too, right?
Hopefully,
live streaming this one too, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we will be. And we got, you know, so we working on that. We'll be announced once we get the facility locked in. Then we'll be, you know, looking for some vendors and letting y'all know everybody that's participating in that. And so far, so good. So. Shout out to y'all, man.
If y'all want to see the first Conscious Olympics, go to my